Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today in this video I'm going to be doing a little bit more work on the black one, Gary, the barn find ambassador. Yes, I still have Agatha on the drive. No, that's not a new car there, that is the courtesy car because the Kia is now gone. Anyway, the barn find ambassador, the black one, Gary, whatever we're going to call it this week. I'm pleased to say that the suspension is still sat up where I left it, so I'm surprised it actually leaked in the first place, because I'm pretty sure it went down pretty quick. It may have been the valve that was leaking, but yeah, it's sat up still, and it's been up now for well over a week at least. So there's nothing actually wrong with this windscreen, but the rubber has perished quite badly. Now hopefully I can remove this beading without it cracking. Not sure if it's available, but I will look on Tinternet later on to see that it is. But the rubber has really perished, so it's curtains for that, I'm afraid. So water's been getting in down here and made a little bit of a mess on the carpet. So obviously I don't want it getting any worse. So first things first, we'll get the wipers off. I don't think I need to remove this trim, but I might do, who knows. And see if we can get this screen out and put a new screen rubber in. So that's the wipers out the way. Now all I need to do is pull out this beading. I have made a start on it and it seems to be easing out okay. Whether it's gonna come out without cracking, I think if I'm gentle enough it should be okay. Putting it back might be a different kettle of fish. It might have to be that I soak it in boiling hot water to soften it back up to stop it cracking. But yeah, it's coming out. It is beginning to crack a little bit, but if I ease it out nice and gently, we should be okay. So far so good. Swap hands. This is a first. Must be able to record myself doing something. Because Ricky still hasn't bought me a tripod. You know, just doesn't take care of his staff at all. I mean, he nicks the cars off them, fills them full of junk, and I don't know. I work all these hours to get him content, and he still can't get me a tripod. Yes, this is going rather well. I think I'll start now with the bottom on this side. So, bear with me. Yep, all that came out nice and easy. I would assume that it's coming out easy simply because the rubber is proper perished. It's not really holding it in much. There. Right, I'm happy that's out. So just move that out the way gently. I don't want it to break, although it is quite bendy. It's doing well. So now I can do one or two things. I can either put a Stanley blade through the screen rubber, and to hell with it, and literally just push the screen out. But now that ribbon is out, I can now get my fingers behind the screen rubber and start peeling it off the screen anyway. Now, I have tried to do a dry run on the screen, because normally what I would like to do is basically put the rubber on the screen and with some cord or wire pull it through, which is how I've done the caravan windows in the past. Or you can do it by, if you fit the rubber, you can sometimes then ease the screen in behind like this, with care of course, because you don't want to damage the screen or the rubber. But it doesn't quite sit, because obviously it's new rubber. It's from the curves are not naturally put in it, so some places it sits okay, some places it don't. So really I need to put the rubber in first and sit the screen in afterwards. That's if it goes that way. If it doesn't, then if it rains tonight, I think I'm going to be screwed. Either way, this needs to be done, so let's crack on. So I've done the decent thing, saves any time of trying to kick the windscreen out. I've put the hammer through it. No, I've put the standing blade through the rubber there, so hopefully now that will, I can now push the screen out from the inside. Wish me luck. And there we have the screen partially out. Had to cut the rubber, and the rubber did break in a couple of places anyway. So I can just finish off now, pulling the screen out, pulling the rubber off and putting the screen somewhere safe. And then we'll see how bad the aperture is, whether there's any rot in there that needs to be addressed. I blooming hope not tonight. You know, when you question yourself, why did I start this job at this time? It's one of them moments. So the aperture looks really, really good in there, other than it being very mucky, which is fair enough. The car's how old? All is well. There's no rot anywhere in there, and the drain holes there are not too bad. A little bit bubbly round the edge, but apart from that, not too bad. I can't really understand where the water's been getting in. There certainly doesn't seem to be any evidence of it apart from down in this corner, but I suppose a small amount is a small amount. Maybe I'll need to remove this trim and just track where the water should be going, which I think I'll remove this now and just give it a clean up in there, just to make sure that any water that is getting into these drain holes is draining away properly. But yeah, I suppose I could give the top of the dashboard a wipe, but nah, let's leave that for a bit. Let's get that trim off. So that's the trim removed, and I think what I'll do later in the video is give all this a good coat of wax. I've put the vacuum down there and got out all the leaves and cobwebs and God knows what else. Still a bit more to do, and still a bit more to get up that corner there. I don't know if you know this, but the ambassadors and princesses have got footwell vents, and if I can zoom in to there, that's where it takes its air from. So it's not exactly a forced air, it's basically whatever can get in there. It's basically just a little bit of fresh air, but that's where the intake is for those. Maybe you could, if you could concoct up some hose, maybe you could have it ram air. But yeah, on the ambass, if I show you on the white one, as it's easier, there is a little lever at the side here, and that is for the foot vent. That is tucked just under there. Not a lot of people know that. So as my light is fading, I think I'm just going to drop the screen back in the aperture there. Hopefully it won't fall in, and hopefully it doesn't rain. So I'm going to do that, go and have a shower. Stay tuned for more. So overnight I put the screen rubber in the aperture last night just to make sure that it had actually fit, and also to give it some shape, because it had been stored for quite a while, and I tried putting it on the screen and it didn't look right at all. It was all over the place. So I've now took the screen rubber back out and it's now on the screen, which I'll show you in a little bit. And what I've done as well is polished up around the screen, because there was lots of crud in there, so I've cleaned it all up, tea-cutted it a bit, give it a coat of wax as well, just to help things slide in a little more easier. What I will do, because the rubber is very, very dry and grippy, what I will do is give it a lubricate with some washing up liquid, and that'll help it slide in. Obviously the rubber's got to go on the screen first, and then you put the rubber in and you basically use a draw cord. So I've got to fit that now into the rubber, and hopefully then I can put the screen in and start pulling it through. So hopefully the roof lining will stay where it is with a bit of luck. Trying. So let's go and have a look at the screen. So that's the rubber sat on the screen. Yeah, not the best. The corners aren't the best, but obviously once it all goes in the aperture, it'll all tighten up and square up. Obviously I've got to put that back on there. That has been a troublesome corner, I will admit, but the rest of it seems pretty much okay, and once it gets seated in place it should all pull in quite nicely. So now all I need to do is put the draw cord, let me see if we can get into here, and this is the lip that sits obviously when it's in place like that, and this is the bit that sits inside the car. So that's where I need to put the draw cord in place, and then offer the screen up and pull it through. With a bit of luck I'll only need to go probably round to about here with the draw cord. I won't need to go into the middle here, but it will go all the way round the rest of the screen. And I think, if I remember the last time I did one, it was a case of make sure the bottom lip is all in place and then start pulling it through little bit by little bit each side. Well, that's the plan anyway. Let's see if this is going to work. So that's the screen sitting loosely in the aperture. Obviously rubbers all need to be pushed in properly. So as you can see in there, I've got my pull cord all in place, and that's it managed to stay in place all the way round the screen. So now it's a case of, with a bit of luck and a lot of getting in and out the car, is to basically pull it through now. Not sure if you can see that. Pull that through, and hopefully it will start to pull inside the car. It's going to be a long, slow process, but it's a case of as long as the bottom's in, the rest should follow quite well. So I might have to take the screen out again, just to get it to seat properly. We'll see how it goes. So I'll make a start. I'm going to do this off camera because this might take a while, but I'll go back on camera once I start drawing it through. And as you can see there, it started to draw through. So I pulled from this one first, and as you can see, slowly but surely she's starting to pull in. Now at this stage, really, normally I would start pressing on the rubber from the outside, but I basically want to get as much as this inside the car as I can before, because as you push from the outside to obviously help seat the rubber, it then tightens it up and makes it a little bit more awkward to pull this through. So it's a case of gently does it, nice and steady. So as much as I want to go that side, and I can come back to this side and start drawing some more in. Now I've tried to get the screen as central as possible, but it looks like I may have to just give the screen a shove over, like when I get this bottom lip in. So it's a case of a bit more, nice and gentle, letting the cord do the work. Basically all I'm doing is pulling pressure on it. That's all I'm doing. But I'm also watching for how the rubber's starting to sit as well. So I think at this point I'm going to stop there, and I am just going to nip outside and then just give it a press. Again, I don't want to give it too much pressure. And it's basically just a case of kneading it in place. So I need my little midget step to reach. There we go. That feels good. And I can continue now and pull that through some more. So that was the most nerve-wracking part, was getting that bottom lip in place. As you can see there, I've now just started coming up the A-pillar. Not sure, yep, see that there, it's pulling in nicely. And the same on the other side. And the screen seems to be pretty much central, give or take a couple of mil either side. So now it's just a case of continuing giving gentle pressure and let the rubber fold its way in. I'm sorry that's a little bit dark, but I hope you can see it. It's just a case, don't pull too hard, let the cord do the work, and just apply gentle pressure, there's no rush. And I'm probably at a 45 degree to the screen. When you feel it start to go easy, then is the time to stop. So that's as much as I'm going to do on that side. So I'm going to come back over to this side and do some more on this side. And again, gentle pressure. Now that's starting to go easy, so I need to stop, and then I'll nip outside now and do some more kneading on the rubber. And all I'm doing is just helping the screen settle, and then up to the point where, which is about there where my pull cord is, and that's seated quite well there. Given that it is quite a tight corner, the trim, when it goes in, will press against that rubber and hold it nicely on the screen. And it's the same on the other side now. Just a little gentle kneading, just to make sure that the screen is fully home. Good. And we'll continue some more. So we're now up to the top corner on the driver's side. Not too fussed about that because the trim will hide that anyway, but as I go along now, it's just a case of pulling it through nice and gently, easing it in, and just make sure that the head lining goes behind the rubber there as it passes by. So I am going to need two hands for this, so bear with me. And I've just got this top run to do now because my other one is there as well. So we're just approaching the final stages now. As you can see there, it's not quite fully home like it is here, simply because now there's this tiny bit of rubber there holding the rest of the screen away. So it's a case of gently does it now, just to make sure, although it is really tight, as you can actually feel now the screen is pulling in. Probably better with that one, actually, pulling that way. So basically it's same as before, but very gently this time, because I really need the lip the rubber to sit over the lip properly, or at least go past it. I can worry about tucking in the head lining later on, but it seems to be sitting rather well anyway. But once this little bit is done, the screen will basically should pop in with a gentle bit of kneading from the outside. So as I go along, I'm just making sure that the rubber is this side of the lip. And it's now starting to pull through on its own now. I need to hold one side steady because it's actually starting to pull through. It's the case of working bit by bit, still making sure that it's this side of the lip. So I'm going to need two hands because I need to hold this one over there and pull on the other one as well. So bear with me. And there we go. That's the pull cord out. So now I'm going to nip outside and start kneading this corner of the screen to make it sit nice and level. I have actually just heard that squelch into place, and that's sitting nice and level. Look at that, a shiny bit as well. Not shiny bit, shiny bit. So it's just gentle pressure on the rubber, obviously trying to stay away from the glass. Obviously you've got to still press down on it to get the screen to seat properly, but that seems to be all okay. There's just that corner which the rubber is sitting up a little bit, and I think that's probably just down to the moulding itself. But once that starts to shrink with heat and with it being sat in position, by the time I come to put the trim in, all that will fold nicely against the screen, and that's what the trim helps do, is press the rubber against the screen. Bloody seeds everywhere already. But that's it, that's the screen in. Really pleased with that. That's gone really well. And yeah, although it's a little wobbly, that rubber's in place, so I'm not going to worry about it too much now, but I will see if I can tidy up where this headlining sits, just to make sure it's all nicely in position. Yeah, so now all I've got to wait for is the trim, so stay tuned. So the new trim has arrived, and I've got my trim fitting tool. So what I've done is a couple of little drips here and there of washing up liquid, just a line in there and rub it along. So washing up liquid basically will just help lubricate the rubber and help the tool go through. So basically the tool goes into the rubber like so, and as you can see there, it's gathering up all the washing up liquid for me, so it's nice and slippy. So I'm going to have to do this with two hands, I think. Yep. So I'm going to have to put this down somehow, hopefully something like that. If I can just put that there like that, hopefully you can see that. So I put the trim tool through the rubber again. So you do some at once and you go straight away and then you try again. Right, and then I put the trim through there, through the tool, and then slide the tool along. He says it's not easy, it's not. There we go. It's going, and then it kind of looks like that. So I have to now go all the way around the screen like that, and what I'll have to do as well is clean out with a brush all these little seeds, just to make sure they're not in the channel. There's a one up there, look. So it's a case of keep it clean, keep dribbling in some washing up liquid so it stays lubricated. When I get to there, yes, that's going to be fun. So I'll get it up to there anyway, and then we'll see how we're getting on. And there you can see the trim nicely in place, all nice and shiny. So we've gone along there, and there's any, yeah, well, we've gone along there, started from the middle, and now we're just at this corner. Now this is where you need to kind of wiggle it from side to side and twist it slightly, because it's very tight on the corners. It has a tendency to pop out, but I will show you how to pop it back in when it does pop out, because it has already popped out there. But I want to continue because I've just about got the inner edge in, but the outer edge has started to pop out. So I just want to go and come up the screen probably another couple of inches, and before I go any further I'll show you how to get that in. Obviously when I go up there again, another couple of drips of washing up liquid all the way up to there. No need to worry about the excess, or you know, if they put too much on, it doesn't matter, because it all adds to the lubrication, helps the tool to slide along inside the rubber, and all you do is hold the trim steady so it doesn't slide along. But now that it's got that far, it shouldn't actually slide anymore. So let's just concentrate and get this corner in, and I'll show you how to pop it back in. So as you can see there, it's not quite fully seated. So with a little bit of washing up liquid on the edge of a blunt but pointy instrument, you then get inside the rubber like so and help it along. So I'll need two hands because I'll need to push the trim in as well. So I'm probably going to need two hands to do that, so bear with me. But that's basically the process. You open it up, crawl it along very, very slowly, inch by inch or millimetre by millimetre, just a little bit as you go, keeping pressure on the trim to make sure it then slides in, as you can see there behind your pointy thing. So it's just a case of doing both sides a little bit at a time and pushing firmly down. And that's the kind of thing we're doing, is just sliding it along just to open it back up. And then when you're done, all nicely in place. So now I can carry on and go up to this part of the screen, up to the next top corner. So there's a little bit of, and then I'll basically, once the tool's in place again, I need to just peel that back a little bit, put the tool back in, and carry on the rest of the way. So we're now just over halfway. So now I just need to, before I carry on any further, as you can see, weather's been so dry. Let's get loads of these seeds. So I just want to clean out up here, just to make sure no seeds are going to get trapped in there and start, I don't know, breaking down and rotting out. And creating me more blooming work later on. So again, same thing, bit of washing up liquid and carry on the rest of the way. So I'm now back to the beginning again. There are some sometimes there are some extra fillers to eliminate any gap you might get, but basically all I need to do is just trim that where I need to be and make sure it's a nice tight fit, and then just help it into place. Obviously I won't be able to do that with the tool because it won't actually go all the way up, so it'll just be a case of doing it with my little pointy thing and offering it up. And there we go, all in place. Awesome. So there we go, that's a quick tutorial how to put your trim in. And so that's all that's left for me to do now, is put the trim, well, I'm going to actually get the vacuum out and get all these seeds out, and yeah, give that a clean up inside there, because that's all a bit mucky, isn't it? And yeah, clean that up, put the trim back on. I have got some other trim somewhere, because this one is a bit sun damaged, I think, and I have got some better ones. Ooh, more spider webs, lovely. So yeah, I think I might put one of my new ones on, but I can't remember. They're probably in there with all that junk. Yeah, right, let's see if I can dig it out. Apart from that, cool. Incidentally, this trim is also the same that will fit Mrs. Wynn's front windscreen, Gary's back windscreen, Mrs. Wynn's back windscreen, and those are the little filler pieces I was on about. These are like a stainless steel. Maybe I could probably order one off Tinternet. I bought this stuff from eBay. It was about, I don't know, I think about £11 a metre, if that, £9, £8, something like that. I can't remember, I'll have to have a look how much it were. But incidentally, the same stuff will go on Agatha's rear screen and also the front screen. And look at the difference. However, they won't go on the Mighty White, simply because it's a big plastic filler on the Mighty White, unfortunately. Same on the front screen, it's a big wide filler. So that's the difference between the Vandam Plus and a HLS. And there we have it, everything back in place. I actually decided I was going to fit the original plastic cover because it was actually better than the spare ones I'd got, because they were quite badly broken, so it wasn't worth putting them on. That I can clean up later on. Don't forget, I've got the rest of the car to do. Maybe, or do I leave it ratted look? Who knows? Anyway, that's the windscreen back in and all nicely sealed up. The trim on, yeah, looking good. Maybe that's a little bit too shiny now. I don't like it. So that's all from me in this video, and that's a little bit more work done on Gary train. So join me in another video real soon, because I've still yet to finish off Mrs. Wynn, so maybe I'll get to work on that. Right, so until the next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later. Bye bye.